right, I'm going to go ahead and start this live stream. I'll start with a quick update of the market. I had some time to do this today, so I want to fit a live stream in for those who can join. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education, entertainment purposes only. And as people join, I'm going to just kind of give a quick overview where I think the market is going. So yeah, we had that nasty sell-off in my last video. I mentioned that those people waiting for the dip may have already come and gone, and I believe that's what we saw happen. And the market is just leaving one side behind, while the other side tries to either top tick the market. The bears are trying to top tick it, or they're trying to wait for the perfect entry. But here you have a 5 waves up. It's very textbook Elliott wave impulse, and now we're pulling back. We still could pull back maybe another 100, 200 points from here, but I don't think this pullback will go very deep, something like that, and then we can get some real acceleration here. There's a lot of chatter on the internet about, oh, next week starts the correction. I mean, geez, we've been hearing that for the last month and a half. I mean, how do we know that? I mean, I don't know when the correction is going to start. Did somebody tell you? Did the market maker send you a message? There's no way of knowing when there's going to be a correction, or is this going to double correct down, and two, deeper? I mean, one, we have 5 waves up, so it doesn't seem likely, and the other is the market doesn't work like that, guys. I mean, so the market, I think, is just going to continue to melt up. I think super micro is a great way to understand how maybe the indices top out at the grand super cycle eventually, right? Great. I mean, the super micro is the definition of a parabolic blow off top, right? Just insane enthusiasm, and then it finally just has an intraday reversal that just collapses. We don't have this insane enthusiasm in the indices like I think we're going to see when we do finally peak. I'm starting to think that we're going to really push higher because there's so much doubt as we're making new all-time highs. We're not seeing that super micro type enthusiasm or the 2017 enthusiasm that I remember seeing when the indices did peak before Volmageddon. We're seeing a lot of cautiousness, defensiveness, doubt, uncertainty, disbelief. That's the emotion out there. Top ticking, people on Twitter trying to justify short positions. They're posting these massive videos from people that don't post because they just need to justify their bearish position. I mean, this is just telling me that this is just gonna continue to go higher. We're not there yet, but we will get there. So we're just gonna keep going. We're just going to keep going. So the strategy for this market is to buy the dip in 3 waves. Now in the 15-minute, there's nothing there. There's nothing. So the SPY, there's really nothing there either. So we could see a deeper wave too here with a bounce. Maybe we start out on Tuesday or Monday. I don't know if Monday we're off or not for the holiday, but we could do something like that is possible. So we'll just have to wait and see where we end up. The triple Qs, that looks good for another low. Now this is messy. This is messy here, and you don't. Let's take a look. You don't really get that five wave here. This could be a connector, guys. So the triple Qs could be a little more bearish. Okay, something like this. So, but it could also give a great entry. So there could be a setup in the technology sector to buy the dip next week at 421, as long as this low holds here at 416. So what does that mean? That probably means Apple and those stocks are going down. So could we be seeing a rotation? Maybe we're going to see some rotation action where technology is going to be weak. And then then it just kind of everything syncs up and we go higher. So I don't think this is 5 waves up. I mean, you could force it, right? One, two, three, four, five. But I would be careful. I wouldn't if you're buying here. You may have to ride it all the way down. It's probably better to just be on the sidelines for technology and not short it or not buy it, and then react to whatever happens. And if this drops, great, pick it up. If this doesn't drop, well, that's just the way it goes. You should have bought it back here. So I think that's kind of what it does. The way to play this. I think just trying to buy it here is kind of flipping a coin. So just get ready for that. And IWM, massive reversal, and we took out the high again. So we could still be in this too. And that'll just be another dip to buy, just another dip to buy. And we just keep saying that. And you just, we could hit 200 here, 199. But again, this is in an area where you just have to be on the sidelines or pick it up if it comes down here. But it may not. It may be, we just don't know how this will play out. But I do think, the IWM's got more upside in this pattern. Maybe you can call it like a cup and a small little handle, and we're out. That's what I'm looking for in the IWM. In the Dow Jones, we're looking for, again, and it looks like another inverse head and shoulders playing out here, a continuation pattern out to the 40,000s, the SPY, 520, Qs, 450. And that's where we think we're heading but then I think we could be set up for either a pretty good correction, or a massive meltdown. But I think the market will be ripe for a pretty nasty pullback. And then you're going to get after that either the moon boy scenario or you're going to get a crash. So either one, I think you'll get a pullback up here in this vicinity. And then the question is it going to just correct and maybe backtest 408 and then do the moon boy out, or is it going to collapse? And I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how this thing plays out. But I mean, I do think it's going to run into a lot of resistance here. And this is the natural area where I believe the market will run out of gas finally. And it'll probably be the area where I take profits and go on the sidelines. And then just see what happens. The only reason I think I won't do that is if in this wave 3 that we're coming into, we have a massive gap and then we gap. If we have a couple massive gap days, record breaking days on the indices, historic days on the upside, I won't sell it because that's what the moon boy blow off top will want to have happen. Well, if we see a lot of resistance and choppiness here, then yeah, I'm out of the market. So we need to see a massive melt up into this area to know where we are, in what scenario we're getting, moon boy, or are we getting collapse or a correction, one of the three. All right, guys, let's look at your super chats. I'll just go into it. Thanks, Anonymous. Always appreciate your super chats, man. Let's go into each one of those. Neo, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will have the same questions on the stocks that he has or she. So Neo's interesting. It's reversing, right? Is it reversing early? So it hit 527 and we had 482. Now we look at this 4-wave, look at the 2-wave. My guess is it's the 4. And this will fail. It will get this 5th wave final move. That's what should happen, right? It should happen. So when you're playing with the last swing, it's always tricky to trade Elliott waves. And I've seen time and time again the market leave people behind because we're off by a swing. And I could easily do this, right? And we're done. So this is where after so this is how you have to be a good trader versus a good technician, right? A good trader would say, crap, Elliott Wave, I mean, Neo used to be $60, $48, $40. Now it's $6. I believe in Neo. I know it's not going to go bankrupt for whatever reason. It's well above its all-time low. What should I be doing? Should I be shorting Neo here? Should I be scared to buy it? No, you got to be. This is the time you start buying it, but not a lot. But you start nibbling at it. You start because I could label it like this, and then it just takes off, and then that's it. Now you have to play. You have to do, but you do have to understand your risk. There's your risk. So here you're getting close to the bottom. And now you have to make a decision. This is where I always say you got to do what's best for you. If I was an investor in Neo personally, and this is just what I would do, I would be buying it right now already. And I wouldn't care whether I got it for $6 or $4 or $3 because when it's trading back up at 20 or 25, I won't give a shit. I bought it at 6 or 4, and none of you guys will care either. And then all you guys up here that would say, "Oh man, I would loaded the boat at $6, man." The bullshit. No, you wouldn't have, because here we are. Because you're scared because you want that last little dip. So my question, my thing is here is like you got to make a decision. I still think you got one more low coming, but you're gonna have to do what's best for you, and you may not, and you can't be too picky with your entry. We could look at the long-term stochastics and watch for a breakout. Let's take a look on the weekly RSI. You're still okay on the weekly RSI. You don't have a breakout yet. You could just kind of see that, right? You can kind of see you don't have a breakout of that weekly RSI. You're not broken out there. And then even on this leg, you're not broken out. You see? So now if you break out of this, then I think then it's a good chance you reversed out of this correction. Now, this last little bit, you could see this bullish divergence. I'd like to see that get erased. And then on the monthly, you have the same thing. So my guess is Neo is not ready to go higher. So I'm not trying to encourage you to buy it here. I'm just saying that sometimes the Elliott wave pattern isn't conclusive, but I do believe you've got more downside. And the ideal setup would be erase those divergences, get down into this area, and then you've got your generational buy if you believe in the company, because in a grand super cycle correction they can go bankrupt, and there's no technical analysis that will predict whether a company is going to go bankrupt unless it breaks its all-time low here at 111. So I spend a lot of time on that just for education for people that follow me that don't do this a lot. So let's go to your other stocks, and these I'll go through quicker. AEHR. So we're in this X wave, right? So this should fail. This may have already started to fail. I want that one more push lower. Okay, HUTS is a crypto. Bitcoin is really tricky because it could be extended in a wave 3 and a race and divergence. On the shorter time frames, it's done that. I want to see it on the longer time frame, but HUT to me looks like it's about to go into wave 3. It's in a 1-2. Here we found support exactly where we wanted it, and now it's just should continue to melt up a little bit here. So now we need to see where we are with the cycle. So you have one cycle, you have another cycle, it's within that. So this is probably your wave 3 and 4 right here. And this is probably your wave 5. And now we're pulling back. So yeah, so this more than likely will come all the way back down to $8. But it may not go that deep. Looking at wherever this connector forms, 925 to 846 looks like the area. And if you're a trader, this is the area you would go long for the 3 of 3 if you're trying to make some money on this on the upside. And there's always a chance, again, for education purposes, it could bounce and fail and do that. But more than likely, you'll get a bounce a bounce, and then you'll have to decide what you want to do, what's best for you. You either want to take some profit, you can let it ride and try to play to wave 3, or you could just stop out and break even, or with a small loss and pick it up later. So you'll have to decide what you want to do, but this is kind of where it's going. I think CL cleans the CLSK 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it looks like it's done its fifth wave here. Looks like crypto's up 5 waves. Looks like all these miners may have already tagged the 5th wave. Now the question is this 1, 2, is this a 3, 4, or is it another 1, 2? So right now you would label it as a 3, 4, but it could be a 3, 4 like this, or it could be another 1, 2, you know, and it could just extend. And I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to stick with the more bullish count for now. And then you'll like, but it could easily be a 3 and a 4. But I'm just going to kind of do that and go with the more bullish count. And then again, another wave down. So I wonder if this is implying Bitcoin's going to take a dump next week with tech, right? I showed you tech looks like it could take like another leg lower. Apple may go lower next week, like that. So there may be another buy opportunity here at 1526, and we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Then Mara, and again, some pretty textbook Elliott wave patterns on these miners. And again, is it a 3 or a 4 or 1 or 2? Tough to say, but my guess is it's this is a 1 because we didn't break the high, right? You don't have any extension yet, so this will be another 1, 2, and then you're just going to have to hope for this dip. Now, see, the thing is, you see how on the 15-minute here, you already got 3 waves. I mean, theoretically, I could call it finished right here. That would be super bullish, right? But this is the more like likely path, but this isn't guaranteed to happen. On all these I just gave you, the second this dip down is not likely, it's not guaranteed, it's likely. Because one, you hit the wave 4 low, which is what wave 2s usually like to tag. Then you have a nice 3-wave 45-minute correction, and that's a pretty big impulse. You get your correction, and then you can run out of that. BCHG, how's that doing? What did we do here? Still playing around in wave B. Still looking for this wave C. I think, you know, we're in it. We have to look at, you know, the connector to see where you want to buy it, right? 224. It's pretty low. It may not get there. It may tag this trend line at 245. This low. You see that trend line? That would be a better entry. I still think it's going lower. And clearly, look, it's 3 waves, right? You don't have 5 waves here. No 5 waves, no impulse. That's a corrective bounce, which means the trend is lower. And then LTCN nailed the short area. Look at that, guys. Bam. Boom. Dump. Same thing. And just like we thought, it pumped so that it could have a shallow, a higher, and it probably tags 737 now. There. Technically, it could maybe it could wick to 634, but somewhere in there. But it should break this low, but it may not break it by much. It could even double bottom, something like that. All right, that's it. Thanks, Anonymous. Let's go to the next super chat. I see Alex here, pitcher, TLT. The TLT, I think, played out like we thought it was. It really screwed. Before we go to TLT, TMF, right, guys? Like, I mean, the rip, right? We mentioned the market loves this shit, right? We come up, we break the low, then we rip higher only to dump later, and that's what we did, only to go ahead and revert, and now we're going to reverse back. So the question is this dump over? The TMF shows it isn't, that we could actually go lower. We should go lower to 48, which means TLT should go lower on the short term before reversal. So I do believe TLT has got a short-term downside still here at 91.32. But I mean, you don't want to be too picky with your entry, but you know, somewhere in there, and then it's going to reverse for more upside. And then this is going to be an interesting situation in the TLT, because either you're going to get a corrective bounce and then it's going to fail spectacularly to new lows. And that means interest rates, that's the final leg in rates. More than likely, this could be the collapse of the market, right? When this happens, this could be markets pump, and then boom, oh shit, everything collapses, interest rates surge for whatever reason. Or this is a massive bottom. We have our count off. It's a corrective move, and we go 1, 2, and then we go 3, 4, 5, and then bonds are going, you know, back to the moon, and rates are collapsing, and it's happy days in growth stocks here again. And believe me, it's not risk off. If this happens, this will be growth pump. This will be back to, like, you know, we used to trade in the early, and you know, and after, you know, the last 10 years, 2010 to 2020, right, where the rates just kept falling. Energy sucks as a trade. The cyclicals suck as a trade, but tech runs, growth runs, and interest rates go to 0 or lower. But this should bounce. And again, we'll worry about this later. But for now, if you're trading, I would say, yeah, you could trade that. Now, the thing is, this looks pretty impulsive. So to me, we really do need another swing higher. It just seems like this is going to happen. This C leg. NVAX. We haven't looked at that one in a while. NVAX, and it's been really weak because they don't really have a fundamental story behind it that gets investors excited, right? It's just been, so it broke our support area. Like, this was an area last stand, and it broke it. So now we got to go all the way back and make sure it didn't break an all-time low. Did it break that low? 354. It might have tagged. Yeah, broke it. Broke it. So now it's a short stack. I don't know what's going on with the company, but the bullish move has been invalidated. It's now in a bearish trend lower. So I would just trade this thing from a bearish standpoint. It's not something I would go long anymore. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know fundamentally why that's the case. It's just you know, it's just they probably just kind of you know, effed up the COVID stuff, and you know, whatever their opportunity came and went. It's just, my bad. Let's go something like this, right? You know, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, and it's in, you know, see, it's still a 3. Now, is it due for a bigger counter trend rally? Yeah, it sure is. But it's going to fail. Like, I don't think it'll ever get back up here for a long, long time, if ever. So I do think it's it's set up for a counter trend rally, though. A speculative counter trend rally, just to trap more people, you know, just to trap more people. And then down it goes. And so the problem I have with this count, though, is you see the divergence got erased right here. So we have to go with this. This is another 1, 2 here. I'm trying to just do this quick. But you get the idea, right? So you probably have a another wave 4 coming, and some 4s and 5s and 4s and 5s, and then a massive, if it's still even around by then. So you probably have this wave 4 coming. So maybe it could pump up to $10 again soon. Maybe a little higher. Maybe it could hit 12. But it's something like that. And it's just going to kind of, I would try to trade that channel, maybe even something like that. So it just seems likely to me that's where it's going. I think that you get the idea. Bearish. And AMC. Yeah, I don't like doing the AMC, but since you gave me a super chat, I'll look at it because AMC spun off their shares, right? So it screwed up all their charts. So you can't really use any of the historical charting. And if you notice, after they did that, the stock just went, to shit. And I really don't recommend trading it anymore, to be honest with you, because it's hard to analyze it with that situation. But you could do what's best for you. Maybe you've been holding it. I'm not saying don't buy it or sell it, but I just think it's a hard chart to analyze given what they did. But we can try. I mean, right away you broke the all-time low. So we just saw on the other chart what happens when that takes place, right? So you got to go with just some kind of three-wave move here. Corrective move, right? WXY. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your connector. So there's one impulse right there, down. And now you're in the wave 3 land, which is why it collapsed like that, see? Boom, erasing divergence. Yeah, I'm just gonna, it's tough to, it could be like I'll have to label it like this. So again, it's due a wave 4. So it's going to bounce soon, right? That makes sense, right? The Russell's about to pump, right? So this is going to bounce, but it's going to fail. It's going to fail. So it's good. This could run till again $12 here, 13, $14, something like that. There, So I think, and it may have already started its reversal. So I think again, if you're short this, I think it's going to be hard to make a lot of money short this now, but it's going to be a great trader's stock for in and out. Yeah, this impulse is done. So to me, this looks like it's in some kind of wave 4 now, but this based on what I'm seeing, it should fail. It should just keep going lower and lower. But then when this finally ends, this fifth wave, right? It will eventually end, right? Then you'll have a massive pump, a massive pump. But I don't think the pump will ever come back and break these highs. But I mean, we could correct back up to something crazy. Maybe right around here, $70. I'll have a massive pump. I'll have one of these kind of moves. But I think that won't happen until all this shit plays out. So yeah, if you're like, oh, I want to buy AMC, it's going to 70. Well, you may be holding for like a couple years, just so you know. It's like a couple years. That's like GME for me. It's like wake me up in 2027 and see where we're at. All right, Alex, thanks for that. Let's go to crypto, Mickey. Mara. I did Mara just a minute ago, and just to click on it again, we're coming down. We should drop to 24, 23, and then come out of this. That's what I'm looking for. Nat gas is, Nat gas is tough because a lot of people are stubborn and they don't want to sell it or they refuse to accept the situation. I try to warn people to get out. You know, back here, I said, if you watch my video, we had this dump, right? And I was like, this price action bothers me a lot. Again, I'm trading the market like poker, not like chess. Like pivots held. There was no reason to sell. I could have held, but I just did not like the price action. I did not like what I was seeing, so I got out of it. And that was where I call to get out of the nat gas trade. But now we broke this major low. You got to understand something. Nat gas, like oil, can go below zero. It can go negative. It can go negative. Remember, oil had to capitulate negative before it reversed. I'm not saying nat gas is going to go negative, but there may be a capitulation event coming that drops this to ridiculous levels, like where it goes negative, guys. In a dislocated market, I would say for nat gas, you just should not be buying it right now. It's too dangerous based on what I'm seeing. This is a connector, guys. By the way, this is a connector for this entire move, and we broke the pivot. It really does set you up for capitulation down to potentially a negative number as people panic, and just like what we saw in the oil market, just like we saw in the oil market. So just be careful. I do not recommend buying nat gas. I need to get rid of this because of what happened here. The price action, I think there could be a capitulation event on the horizon and there's going to be massive panic. But then that will be your time to go buy it, right? Like it was with oil. And those funds like Boyle and stuff may collapse. And even cold, right? Because if it goes negative, it may reverse the next day over 50% and then that collapses. So you got to be. I wouldn't be trading. It's too dangerous to trade right now unless you're unless you're in and out positions the same day, or you're really risking money you don't afford to lose. Like you don't afford can go to zero. Like you don't care. It's like your lottery ticket. Hex. We haven't done that in a long time. That coin. Let me see if I even have it anymore on here. Yeah, I don't even think we have it on here. Maybe I've done the chart before. Um, I guess we'll just use this. Right away. What does that look like? Inverse head and shoulders bottom, right? Again, I don't even have to do charting, guys. Look. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that's a reversal pattern, right? I don't need a lot of charts to tell you, it's probably ready to reverse and break out. But let's look at it anyway, just to see if it's got some other support levels. No Fibonacci support there. Let's take a look. It's above its all-time low. That's always good. I don't even know what hex does. I've heard of it. It's on the internet. I've seen it on the internet. It's like an AB, and then this is the C leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So more than likely, this has to hold, right? This is your go to zero level right there. So as long as that holds, it's bullish. I would be buying the dips, and if it breaks, then it's the setup's lost, and it could be a massive wipeout. But if I look at this, yeah, if I look at this, this pivot is important to hold. This looks like 5 up here. We broke the high. You came back in 3 here, and then you held. But this looks like 3 waves. You could put the 2 there. I still think this is way too bullish. Is this thing going to break out while we're on the call right now? That's what this is. Is this about to like go into wave 3 while we're sitting here staring at it? That's what this is almost saying, right? I don't know. That seems too bullish, but it could be. It could be, guys. I think as long as as long as this pivot holds here, you got to go with this as your count. But if it breaks, then it could unravel pretty quickly. So it's a real, high risk, high reward setup, but you gotta risk it, man, to make money in the market. But this is the setup, and I'm sure everyone else in the market's staring at this pattern. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see if this plays out or not, or if it takes a dump and then comes out later. Tough to say. But interesting coin Hex. Again, not sure why it'd be so bullish right now. All right, thanks, man, for crypto. Uh, iSeeker, ING. ING has been pretty good. Let's take a look how it's been doing lately. So it's accumulating in our buy area nicely. There's it's just like, again, you see how we didn't go deep enough? I would love to buy it here. This is just so risky here, but what this chart is also saying is it's on the verge of a massive breakout. So, it's a coin flip as long as these pivots hold, right? These pivots hold, it's good. I think you just it's right now it's like the poker table. Everyone is all in, both sides of the poker table, and you're about to call. Each side's going to get their cards called, and we're going to see who's got the best hand, because this is going to have a massive move, and it's either going to, and if it dumps, you can just buy it here. But you could easily get this count. I can easily get this count that I have here, and then it's about to rip higher. You see, we've already broke out and back tested and out. I'd say the bulls are in control. The edge is to the bulls right now in this situation, and especially if you can break this peak here at 37.20, 37.15. Edge to the bulls. We'll see how that plays out. And Reef coin, I don't think I've seen this one before. This is a new one. All right, we'll take a look at it. So we broke that low. That's always dangerous. That's usually a sign that the coin could go to zero, but that's Binance, and sometimes they don't have all the data. So let's go to a different exchange. Try KuCoin. Yeah, that's even worse. So this is where it's tricky, because you got to find the exchange that has the most trade-in history. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, we'll just go with Binance for now. We'll forget this spike, but this is kind of ridiculous, right? Trade-in action. We're just gonna have to ignore that, and trade it off its most recent low in the direction of the trend, which is higher. That's the only way to trade this, I think. I think you have to just trade from that low up, and that's the trend until it violates that trend, because there's really no other way to get a longer term count on it. Nice divergence. So nice impulse off the bottom there. And then this looks like 5 down. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you came up. And now the question is, are you going to come back down? And you very easily that could happen. But what I like better is this count here as a flat, because it went deep enough. Something like that. So you're really trading against this low here. And now you're coming out of that move. Impulse, yeah. So something like this. And now you come out. So now you're in the wave 2. So the wave 2 can go deeper, okay? It can go deeper. It may have been a crash correction. It may already be done. It's tough to say, but I would say it's bullish against this low here, and it's just going to keep. It more than likely will find support and continue higher on Reefer coin, or whatever the heck it's called. ORAI from KuCoin. Okay, let's take a look at that. Oh, we have that one. So we must have done that one before for either you or somebody else. Let's take a look here. What happened? So we got that C leg here finished. Let's take a look how this played out. So we got 3 here. So we're still in an X wave, and we're just you have 3, 3, and now you need another 3. So it should go higher. It should go higher. One more swing, but I think this is one that doesn't have a bullish structure to it, so it's set up to fail eventually when this X wave finishes. But I think it's got some kind of setup. Now this B could continue lower. It could come back and back test this trend line here at 517 still. So it may not be finished. But I do think it's got some kind of pattern like this to play out. And then it could take a dump like around $12, $14. Something like that. You see how we broke out of that? Yeah, it would be nice to back test. We come out. And yeah, why do I think we had an, oh, yeah, I just didn't like how we bottomed out here. I didn't like, so I would say the count's off if we can break 15 bucks. If we can break 15 bucks, then I think the count is negated, this bearish count. But I do think it's going to go higher no matter, no matter the count. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a back test. Let's take a look at what's going on here. You see these wicks, they're being bought. So I bet, I like to see the back test, but it may already be done here, and you may start to see this come out. Just look at the wicks. People are buying. This is being bought. All right, let's see here, guys. That's it for iSeeker. I don't know who's next. I'll just go to the biggest super chat, but I'll get to all of them. Bama 20. Thanks again. Interest rates and 2s and 10s. Yeah, 2s and 10s, silver and interest rates. Yeah, let's look at interest rates. I kind of touched on that with the TLT earlier. So the interest rates are really interesting, right? Interesting here. Look at that. So this was our short area, and man, it is struggling, right? It's finding buyer. Buyer was it? Buyers or bonds, right? In the 10-year, and look, you're in bigger picture. You're back testing the trend line break, right? Bigger picture, right? You have this trend line. This trend line. You broke it and you're back test, and it's struggling to get back above it, right? It's struggling. And I want to see that rejection down to 3%. And that's what I'm looking for. So now we saw the TLT, but the TLT is the 20-year bond, right? It's not, or it's longer term. It's not the 10 years. So sometimes these are different, right? So, could it make one more high? It's possible. It's possible, but I think no matter what happens here, and again, it's struggling. No matter what happens here, we should get a dump in lower rates. Now, 3, a connect 3, and then we should have 3 there. Now, I mean, could 2 push higher? I mean, technically, there's nothing wrong. I mean, obviously, there's your connector wave, right? There's your connector. I mean, it's clear as day. So, yeah, I mean, there technically, I'm showing this count, but I guess technically you could make a case that this makes one more run higher to 4.5. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. So I think it could do that. It could do that. But, you know, you see how we peaked out? That's usually how these things end, these corrective waves, right? Because to do that, we would need to erase that divergence. That would be a pretty big spike, right? And then if we don't erase that divergence, then it's an impulse. So one, two, 3, 4, 5, and then this is 5. So it would really, I really favor this count, but yeah, it's a tough call. The 10 years a tough call, short-term trader, but I think long-term we will see these areas down here. And then the 2 year to twos, the twos is a little different, right? The twos predicted some price action here. Oh, I'm sorry, the ones did. I'll show you the one chart, but here the twos again. C leg. I want to see this 3-2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and we're in C. So again, it's in this two-wave counter trend rally, and then it should fail. So, that's what it should do. Something like that. Yeah, the 1 year hit a support area and reversed. So this is something we got to keep an eye on too, right? Because here, A, B, C for the 2, 5 up, and then we pull back in 3, buy, and we're starting to reverse. So this is interesting, unless this two-wave goes deeper, right? So a very interesting situation. Why the 1 is so different than the 2. The other alternative is this count is a little off, and it's still like an A, B, C flat, and the 2s go down to this area here. I have 3, 6. So for me right now, I'm not really trading the one or the bond market. I'm not a trader of the bond market. I'm just keeping an eye on it. What would be significant is taking out the high 5-2, because then that would imply the next the next leg higher has started. And if that happens, then we should be heading to these levels up here, which should collapse the market, right? That would be a massive warning sign for the stock market. So we have to keep an eye on this, but I do think it's still correcting the move higher here, this move. But when this correction finally ends, we get wave 3. And yes, we're going to get wave 3. And then when that happens, the market should drop. Unless we get some kind of Venezuela hyperinflation pump, which I doubt that, but there's no reason why rates would run and the market would run higher. But I mean, this is it. And then silver, I still have silver going higher. And I mentioned last video, it's held the pivot. Remember I said it came down, but it held that pivot and essentially went vertical, right? So that was just like a shakeout, but the market held the pivot. So people picked up silver basically with no risk. Because I mean, you could have just bought it here with a stop loss like 10 cents lower. I mean, you could have bought, almost no risk, and now it's just house's money, and most people won't sell it now. So I think this is going to run pretty significantly, which also implies the stock market more than likely will be supported, and the dollar should remain weak as this plays out more. And I do see this coming out of this correction, and I mean, maybe 31, 32 bucks somewhere around here, and then it runs out of gas. But I do think it's bullish, and breaking this high is important. And I think we just have to see what happens, because look at this consolidation and look at that breakout. But yeah, we could be doing a pullback a little bit against this, but I do favor it. As long as we hold these levels here, I'm good. And then if those break, then it's 21, right? 21, and then if that breaks at 2060, then it's 18. Then it's lights out. But then and that means probably the market's got lights out. So I do like silver higher. I don't like to sell it. I just don't like to sell silver right now. Your thoughts on Robert Prechter? He's a bear, right? He's very bearish to market, and I don't know the guy, right? But I just, I know I see his stuff and I've read some of his material. I would just say that, yeah, he's bearish. He's looking at a wave five of the grand super cycle since the beginning, right? And we technically can be in wave five of the grand super cycle, guys. I mean, there's nothing, there's no, he's absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with saying we're in a wave five. I mean, long-term chart, like we'll go, like for you guys that haven't looked, right? We just go to the Dow, right? Uh-oh, look at our parabolic decline. We're right on the parabola too. So this is an old chart I posted. I posted it when we were right, I think right here. And then it got saved. There was that stick save in October. So yeah, eventually, so maybe my chart isn't perfect, right? I should probably draw something like that, right? There. It's probably not perfect. There. So we got some room to play with still. Um, but anyway, so, if you look at these counts, no matter, where you think you are, you look at it, you see the divergence, right? Here and here. So you would say this is some kind of wave five, right? This was some kind of wave three, right? So you would basically say, okay, the Great Depression was wave two. This is your wave three. This is your wave four, and there's your wave five, right? And then he's just saying when this wave five, and when this wave five ends, we should drop all the way down somewhere around here, 4,000, 3,000 Dow. And technically, that's what we see happen, right? That's what super micro is going to do. That's what all this shit does that pumps like this. They all do that. So eventually, the Dow will have its doomsday moment, and he'll be proven right. But the question is now, will divergence be erased? So this is the million-dollar question. Is this divergence going to get erased? You see this RSI here? Is that going to do that and take this peak out? Moon boy, right? Wouldn't this be moon boy, right? Moon boy. If we do that, then it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 of 3 to the moon, and that's the moon boy, and that's the historic. And we end in a blow off top that you'll tell your great grandkids about, and they'll be like, how wish they would have lived during the time period we're about to trade, because we'll see the biggest gains we've ever seen in the stock market history will happen in the next 5 to 10 years if this happens, if this moon boy plays out. Now, if the moon boy doesn't play out, guys, and it's wave 5 like I have here, and this trend line breaks, right? We do that, then guess what's going? Prechter's going to be proven right, and we'll have a mass calamity in the stock market like we've never seen, and society will suck, and everyone won't have jobs, and there'll be, crime everywhere, and no one will have food. It would probably be the worst. You would make the Great Depression look like it was a boom time, because the governments would be broke, everyone would be broke. You read his material. This is what will happen. So that's what's at stake. Pretty much the survival of the United States is at stake, and the world as we know it would change forever if this happens. But what would cause this? This has to have some cause. This is just not going to be a technical correction. This just won't be, oh, the market's selling off because there's just no more buyer. It's never going to happen. There's going to need to be, when is Warren Buffett going to scream and panic and sell everything? You got to ask yourself, what scenario will make Warren Buffett go hit his market sell orders and sell every stock he owns and go to cash? What event in the world? I wish someone would ask him that question in an interview. What would have to happen for him to do that? Because that's what this is. That is the fundamental investor from the Great Depression lows, which is really when he started buying, leaves the market and says, I'm out. When he says I'm out, I'm like never getting back in. I'm like, I'm out and done. So that's what's going to happen. So what's going to cause guys like that to dump? What's going to cause Warren Buffett, the biggest fundamental investor that buy and hold since down in the late 40s and 50s, to finally dump everything he owns in a panic sell-off? It's got to be like nuclear war. It's got to be something Like, now they were saying space nukes, Russia had space nukes. See, shit like that's going to pop up, right? Or something like we can't even contemplate, like, some crazy thing in the world. Maybe AI takes over and kills everyone. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? But whenever this happens, that's it. It's game over. So we don't think about that. But Robert Prechter thinks about that. And one day he will be proven right. One day this parabola, mathematically, it's just mathematics. It's going to break, guys. This won't go on forever. It's not just going to go to infinity. Eventually, this shit's going to break. And when it does, that's it. That's game over. It's game over. Now, the parabola can extend like it did here. So that's something to keep in mind. But will there be a deep correction? Yes. So like we could get another, like, you could come up here and get like another one too, and it just extends. But this wave two, more than likely will, depending on how far it goes, it'll probably fill all these gaps that we had from the March 20 lows. My guess is we'll at least tag this low at some point in the future when this does end. Whether the Robert Prechter row ends here, that would be horrific, but that is possible too. But I think we worry about that later. But when this parabola breaks, I do think this low's in play. The March 2020 lows are in play, and then potentially even his lows. But for now, the market's going to either moonboy or we don't know. We don't know. But I think right now the edge favors the bulls. The edge favors the bulls right now, guys. The edge favors the bulls. You see we broke. You see how we broke that? Look at that. We broke that. So the edge favors the bulls. So I think Moonboy is favored. And that's why we needed the position for that once we saw that started seeing that happen at the end of December. And that's been the right trade ever since. So that's I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that. All right, crypto, Mickey, let's go to yours. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla never really dropped like we needed to. I still think it's at risk of dumping with tech and Apple, right? Let's go back to my short-term charts on Tesla here. Short-term charts. I'm still looking for this dump, and I'm still looking. So typically on a Y leg, you need 3 swings. So you still, I don't see 3 swings in that. That looks like one cycle. So I think it's at risk of dropping like this, and I do think this is going to happen. I think you just, if you're patient, I think you could get it here at a good entry. I think I'd be surprised if it just like don't. I mean, that'd just be really surprising. And again, I would have the structure all wrong, and I'd have to go back to the drawing board. But I just think it's at risk. Short-term day trader, let's see if there's a short entry that we can take on that. It may have been on Friday. Yeah, Friday it hit. So the short entry was on Friday. Maybe there it is. So if it revert, this is where it would reverse right here. So if it's going to reverse, it needs to reverse now. We'll see what happens if it does. The other thing is this should be in 5. So you may actually still get an opportunity to short it at 206. But I would stop that. I would get out of that short if it broke 210 or 212. But I think just looking at it, it looks like you may still may be able to get that short in after all here, if we can get that. But there's a chance it may already be done here. But I'm looking for it lower. Yeah, Mara I did already. How do you calculate? So I always just look for an extension of equal distance. So it's pretty straightforward. Let me go through an example that seems to work really well. Let's go through Mara, I guess, and you can see how that calculates that. So how do you know where to buy it, right? Let's go back to here where I had this highlighted. Why was this the area to buy Mara, right? Why? So if you look at the distance here, this whole distance, this distance, I like to match it so it matches this distance. And so what I do is I just do something pretty simple. I just take a Fibonacci, you see I measure from 1 to 0, and then I just extrapolate that 0 point to this point, and then I see where that 1 lines up. That's where I buy it. And then I always draw my box depending on where the pivot may be. Here there's no real pivot, so I draw the box the full distance to a 1618 extension. But typically if it were to break 1618, then it's a wave 3 and not a corrective move. Because a corrective move should be 3 short waves. But if it's like a 1, 2, and a really extended third wave and breaks this, then it's probably going to do a 4 and a 5. And then this move is not a bullish trend. So that's why I do that. And then wave 4s, you know, I try to look at 618 retraces. Usually wave 2s go really deep or even test the lows. That's a wave 2. A wave 4 is usually really shallow. It usually hits the 618 retrace of the wave 3. And that's how I do the Fibonacci's. And the extension's the same. Like where would sellers hit this wave? Well, we draw the wave, and then we extend it, and that would be 38.78. And then if it's a wave 3, like I mentioned before, it should extend and hit 53. And that would be a classic wave 3 extension, right? And then you get a 4 and a 5. If we actually reverse that 38, then we're looking at a corrective bounce, more likely in an ABC, and a corrective move against the bearish trend longer. So that's how I look at it. Hope that helps. Okay, guys, I've been on for an hour. I think I got all the super chats. I'm just going to scan through comments. I won't be able to get to them all today. I'll try to get to some of these. We didn't really get to any questions today. That's crazy. NMTC. I'm not sure if that's a stock or not, but we'll see here. Okay, yeah, we got that on our, so we must have done this one already. Yeah, we're looking for this 4-wave to end. Right there. So the question is, so we want to see that trend line break. Yeah, where is the wave 4 at here? It's tough to say where I could lay. I could put that here. Or it looks like a double. So I think to be safe we'll put it here. But to me, we're either in the 5th wave, about to have a massive breakdown, or you see the bullish divergence. So this is you could see this, and then a massive dump. Something like that. So I would be looking for something like that to play out on that. So I hope that helps. Let's go to, let's see here, file and Filecoin. Oh, file. Yeah, that's not it. How's that one doing? This one had a big pump last cycle. So we pulled deeper in 2. So we still have it as a bullish trend, just went deeper. Yeah, so we'll put the 1 there. Yeah, I mean, to me it looks like it's something like that. So yeah, so this is your so it's bullish off of this low. Now, if this low breaks, it's going to double correct lower and it's going to retest this low at 33.1. I don't think it's going to do that. I think it's going to hold that low. You see, so was the RSI bottomed out nicely here? Yeah, I think it's like this. So you have to do what's best for you on that. I think that's where it's going. And near, so it went just a little bit lower. So we're looking for that final wave down, right? It looks like we hit that finally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're out of that mess. One, two, yeah. Perfect correction. So same thing. So if it were to break this low, it's going to come all the way back and retest the low. So it's an important pivot to hold. And it's the same thing. It's kind of in no man's land here. But my guess is this low, given that capitulation, is going to hold. And even if it were to break, it will do one of those break, rip. So you just got to be careful. It could do something like this too. Like that. And then fall again later. And then hit 2 like that. So that's only if it breaks the low here. So I don't know. It's tough to say, but I'll leave it there. All right, Zoom and Baba here. Let's take a look at Zoom and Baba. So Zoom's in our buy area. Yeah, it's the moment of truth. I said it's a very dangerous chart to trade because it's below the trend line and it broke the IPO low. So you need to be really careful if you're going to hold it through earnings. It could have a massive collapse. I think it could have a really big move on earnings, but it could also have a massive meltdown on earnings as well. So there's no guarantee, but technically this is its last stand. Zoom is last stand right here. If it collapses on earnings, it's game over for this thing. It's game over. But it's the last stand. I do like this, but you'll have to do what's best for you. But you need to be careful what you're risking here if you're going to play the earnings play on this. Baba, I heard that was pumping. Yeah, we held that. We need to hold this low, right? 58. So once we break this trend line, it's good. So it's not all clear yet. Now this leg is done. This Y leg is done. So you could make the case that it has bottomed a major low here, but it could also be just forming a connector for the final, like a final washout trade. So I think this is an important pivot, 66.75, and you see how you broke higher here in a flat. So actually it looks like it's got some more upside coming. And we'll see what happens. But I think if this low can't hold, then it could be lights out for Baba, and it will probably break this low. And if it breaks that low, it's breaking that low. And if it breaks that low, well, you don't want me to tell you where it's going. So it's got technically it's got to hold these levels. It's got to hold these levels. Um, Bitcoin could have a major correction. It depends if divergence is erased or not. It's yet to be seen. So right now we have divergence here. At least I thought we did. Yeah, we do still. See, this peak and this peak is lower than that peak, so it's a wave 5. We're in a wave 5 of 5 right now. Technically, this is what it's saying. If this is true, then we're going to get a dump in this wave 2 multi-month, and that would bring us back down to 35,000. However, we all know NVIDIA, Supermicro, and I can go on, divergence can be erased. And if divergence is erased, and we, this daily, boom, pops up, takes these out, then guess what, guys? It's a 1-2, and it's never coming back to 35,000 for a long time, if ever. So I can't predict the future. This is where Elliott Waves fails, and this is where you have to be a good trader. It takes over. It's like, I can just do that, right? This label is just as valid, right? This is just maybe, this is a more bullish bias, right? What if it does that? Or hell, what if it does even this? Right? I mean, I could be super bullish, like crazy bullish. But I don't know. I mean, we saw from the miners, most of them seem like they want to go lower again, but they don't seem like they want to go that much lower, right? So I'm thinking, I'm willing to just guess. And again, there's no technical basis for this other than just my hunch. I think this is where we'll end up, like this. And then we pull back maybe to 49,000, maybe back, maybe 48, and then we're out of here to new all-time highs, and we don't look back. And the market leaves everyone behind. But guys, if you've been following me, I gave you guys the entry on this right before the massive move, right? So you guys got to watch my videos. If you're not, I gave you guys this buy here. During my video, I was showing you that we were here, and even in ETH. So you shouldn't have missed this move. No one, and look, this was a classic inverse head and shoulders, right? Look at that. It was like, it doesn't get any better than this. But yet, a lot of traders miss this move because they're waiting for like the perfect entry. There's no such thing as there's just the entry is as it is today. I don't care what it's trading. If I see an inverse head and shoulders and it's trading 125,000, I'm going to buy it because it's going to go long. And if it's a head and shoulders, I'm going to short it. So like you just have to trade what the market gives you. So this is what it's given us. But now it's tough to say. It's tough to say where we're going to head. But it is a massive danger area if you're going long here, because this could be a fifth wave of a fifth wave we're in right now. So you got to be really careful in Bitcoin right now. But this is tough to say where we're heading. But I'll tell you, it seems like the market wants to pump out of this. There's just so much bullish price action, and in the ETF, money is flowing in, and no one's selling it really, right? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But if you do get lucky and this happens, yes, I'll be loading the boat, man. Because then you have then your risk is a lot less. Here it was even a little bit risky, but I mean, I just don't know where we're going to head with it, if we're going to get that 4 and a 5 or not. But we'll see. We'll know probably next week. We'll know if this is the count or something more bullish. Yeah, I looked at TLT already. Plug Power. Yeah, let's look at Plug Power, that stock. I've been watching that one. There was a trade on that. It hit a Fibonacci level here and went vertical. So I mean, big picture, Plug Power is in a massive wedge, right? You see that? And we pretty much followed this thing all the way down through this correction, and technically it's over, right? Technically, I can't get any more Elliott wave swings. It's in the Fibonacci buy area. It's in even a strong buy area, and now we vertical off. So, and we have a three-wave move. My guess is it's reversing. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why all of a sudden everyone wants to own this company, because I thought like they were like close, said they were gonna go bankrupt or something. I don't even know what they were saying, but I don't know, something like this. Now, also when I look at this, if this breaks, then yeah, it's going to penny stock land. So at least you have a bullish pivot. You have a bullish pivot. So I wouldn't short it anymore. I would be looking to buy it, but then I wouldn't be surprised if it stops me out, because it is a high risk buy. But I wouldn't be shorting this anymore. It looks like it may have just missed the buy area there, but maybe there's another opportunity right here. If it could drop a little more in this area at like 347, 328. Yeah, that last wick is divergent, so it's impulsive. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Looks like it's reversing to me, man. I think, again, I don't know why. I don't know. Again, I don't know what it did to turn its company around overnight, or get people sentiment. But obviously, somebody knows. Somebody always knows, right? Somebody always knows what's going on. So somebody loaded the boat here, and now it's like, oh shit. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll buy 1,000 shares down here. I was thinking of buying 1,000 shares if it got down here, just to play around with it. But I mean, I saw it down here. I just didn't personally. Um, I don't know. I just say like this. I just say, yeah. I'm just thinking this has got a good setup for a nice little pump, but with the reward comes the risk, and the risk is, yeah, it could drop, 30-40%. So I think if you're a believer in the company, you're like, oh no, these guys are great, I follow them, hydrogen's where it's at. Then if you're a long-term investor, this is where you got to buy it. You got to just like buy it and thank, the trading gods for letting you get this kind of entry. But this is the setup. This is the setup. Look at that. Interesting setup. Okay, time for me to get out. I'll just scan through the final comments, and that will be it. Yeah, we did Tesla. So you got Tesla. Um, yeah, I mean, February always has been shitty in the market. That's when Volmageddon happened, right? So yeah, you got to be on alert next week, for another leg lower. But I think you could just see like a rotation play kind of thing where tech takes a dump, but then other shit runs that, and it's all the stuff that you don't own. Maybe like the silver miner, miners and shit like that, energy. But I do think technology has this risk coming like that. Just keep that in mind. However, I will say that the other end, the Dow does not look like that, although it does look like it could drop a little bit more. But I just don't see, a massive collapse yet. Um, if we got that, let's say we get a collapse, I almost think it's too early, and I think that actually sets you up to negate the expanded flat B later in the year. In fact, that would be more bullish. It would be short-term bearish, but it would set you up for a bigger run later, and may negate this B wave. So it may be like, this may trap enough longs to get this kind of B wave if we can get this kind. So I don't know how it'll play out, but I don't know if we'll get like a Volmageddon event. But I think, are we gonna pull back? I think tech's at risk of pulling back a little more. But this is kind of no man's land, so it's tough to say. But Apple looks weak. Tesla looks like it should drop more. We just saw Bitcoin could be in a wave 5, right? And we just saw some of the miners need another leg lower. So it does seem like there's risk off coming in those areas of the market. Now, but maybe not all the areas. And again, maybe it's the stuff you don't own is going to run finally. I'll show you guys my SMC chart. I do love trading charts like this that are all crazy. Traders are all crazy into them because you can get some nice entries. So this is the 45-minute. Here's your 45-minute connector. So you could get a counter trend rally at $711, high 600s, and then play that bounce. You can play that bounce and then get out of it. Get out of it. But I mean, could it bounce to new all-time highs? Unlikely. But I mean, given this market, no one knows. But I would look for this. I would look for that. Now, if it does pump tomorrow, we could get this kind of B and then get this C later, but be looking for that C. And when this C comes, there'll be a trade, a bounce play trade, a counter trend, and then you just take your 20% gains and get out of it. But I'll be looking for that because this is kind of high volatility. But I wouldn't buy it here. I wouldn't short it here. I just kind of keep an eye on it. If it can, if this is a shallow connector, this could be the play right in there, right in here. So that's my super micro chart. AI only because I've got that chart. I'm in stock. I'm in. Of course, do what's best for you. I can't be wrong. And that was a real nail biter. I said AI was a real nail biter, but it held its pivots, right? So you got to be patient, and the patience is starting to be rewarded, but not rewarded the way I want it to be. But definitely it's starting to move, right? So it's been in this buy area for a while, right? As the market was running, right? But it held the pivot every time, and then finally it's coming out. So now it's like let's just see what happens, because here you have 3 waves. Once we take this high out here, which I hope we do that, then it's done. Then you got your impulse out. Now there is massive short interest in this, guys. I won't tell you how many days of short interest it is. Go look it up yourself. If this thing moves, it has got a massive short squeeze potential because of the amount of short interest in it. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there could be that kind of opportunity in it. If we keep pushing out of this, I don't know. Does it have any catalysts like earnings coming up or anything? I don't follow the fundamentals, but this is what I'm looking at now. Of course, this is 3 waves. So if we start breaking down from here, then we're at risk of breaking the pivot, and I'll stop out. So this is my stop loss, guys, out here, right down here. And until then, we'll just see what the market does. Let's see if we can keep going higher, push it higher. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Why would rates go lower with higher inflation? It won't make sense, right? So if rates go lower, inflation should be coming down, right? Think of what happened during 2009 to 2019, right? Inflation was low. They basically were so mad. Remember, they got on TV and said, we got to change our inflation forecast targets because we just can't get inflation in this market. They were so frustrated. They couldn't get any inflation, right? So that's what if bonds have made a massive low and they're going to negative rate, then you got to be saying we're in secular we're in a deflationary grand super cycle wave caused by probably AI taking everyone's jobs and making things cheaper, right? Eventually, not now, but eventually. And that's Cathie Wood, right? Cathie Wood says we're at risk for a massive deflation because of AI. That's that scenario playing out. And what would be good for that? Corporate profits. That would be great for corporate profits. It would suck for, wages, right? And everybody else that loses their jobs. But it will be great for corporations that benefit from, the lower costs. So stocks could go up in that environment. We'll have to wait and see if that's what happens. I'm just reading through the comments. Shop is a real tricky chart. I I still can't get it. I've been playing with it. It's got some weird pattern here, and honestly, the only one I could fit is this super bullish pattern until these pivots here. Show me see these breaks. You see the 45? Look, each one is higher than the previous one, so this is technically a valid chart for now. But I think I'm crazy to think that's going to happen, but for now, we'll label it this way, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it drop back down to 72. But I mean, what do I know? I mean, it's just a chart. I don't know. I'm long Shopify from down this area at 69, right? We were trading it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with it, but I've been just holding it for now. And then I don't know if I have GME. Yeah, GME's chart I've updated on that, guys, if you follow me. Again, this is one you're just going to have to hold for a while. If you're looking for immediate gratification, it probably isn't going to happen, but of course, we want it to happen, but this is like an AMC chart. You're just going to have to hold it and just like forget about you even own it. So I'm going back here, guys, to this like 5-wave move, and I'm going with a double correction. Either it's an ABC for W, and then we have this connector wave and an ABC. Either the connector wave was shallow and it finished here at 2, and we're in a new bull cycle higher, or X is going to extend up like this, and we'll get C later, and it will break this low and head down to like $13 later. So each scenario is 50-50, but I do think we're coming higher out of this. And then I think the market will either dump this back in another leg lower for 2, or 2 truncated already, and it won't do that, and it will just retrace the move. This move will retrace and then come out. So I don't know, but I do think this cycle's over. So we're in a new uptrend cycle. Now, if we were to fall and break this low and come down and break it and fall, I think it's set up to come back and break this low and then go into the single digits. And I think I'll dump it. I mean, I think at that point, I don't know what I would do. I probably am going to hold it and stop out here at 1186 and then just take the loss. And it's just like sometimes I'm wrong. Elliott Wave Sage can be wrong, right? But this is the play, and we'll see how it plays out. But you'll have to do what's best for you and go with it. I got a super chat come in. Adobe's in a buy area, guys. Adobe's in a buy area, but but I can be wrong. Do what's best for you. Adobe's in a buy area, and I think it's going into earnings, but yes, just know that it's also correcting the whole cycle, so that means it could be a deep correction. So it's not without its risk. It's not without risk. Just so you know, Adobe is about to hit the buy. Well, it's $2 from the buy area. So you're gonna have to again, it's a flat, so it could go lower. And look at the wave 4 low. You see it's at 498. So I'm not saying buy it here and it's going to rip in earnings. I would be really careful that you don't get a dump on earnings, but it is technically in an area that it's going to, it could do something like that. So just keep that in mind. I probably should draw the box a little bigger, like something like that. But yeah, it looks like to me this is the area of support right in here, the low 500s for wave 2, and then we go into this nice run if we can get it. SMCI. Oh, I just gave SMCI. Bigger picture on FCMCI. Obviously, that's a wave 3, right? We actually analyzed this before, right? We were looking for an entry at 198, but it truncated. It never gave it. It didn't. It was so bullish. Little did we know at the time it was that bullish, right? But go figure. It's just the way the market went, and of course it went vertical, and so now the wave three is obviously over. So you think we should get a 4 and a 5, right? So what does this imply? This actually implies we break the high. um, I won't play for that, but I mean technically we should get this 4. And this is the area that it could happen where I had it at 711, this area, and then we could technically break this high with a lot of bearish divergence, and then it could be lights out for this stock. Um, yeah, see, there's no divergence at this peak, so I would label it like this. But here's the thing: if you can buy this here for a trade on the long side for sure, but I've traded a lot of these pump and dumps. A lot of times the first big bounce off never breaks the high. It usually kind of comes up and traps more people, and then it. So just I think this is tough to say. You got to really be playing with some house's money or money you're not afraid to lose. Or maybe if you buy it at 643, you can let it run, and if it starts to collapse, you can get out and maybe get some gain out of it. I don't know how you want to trade that, but you should bounce. My strategy is you should bounce and then dump it and let other people play around in it. ARM was another one that was running, right? We had did we do ARM? I don't know if have we ever charted ARM? Yeah, we've never charted ARM. Kind of the same situation. Here you have bearish divergence. So this is a full impulse that's over. So this one is unlikely to break its peak again. Something like that. 3 waves, connector. So I like it down here. So it should actually find buyers at 89. Looks like it'll fill that gap at some point in this area. That's the ideal entry, but we're in a connector. So the connector could go on and on forever, right? It could go on and on, but eventually there'll be a capitulation on it. I mean, to me, it looks like an ABC correction. But the B wave, what if the B wave could go higher and then the target goes higher like that? You see, so there's no guarantee, but I'm just labeling it like this. But this looks like an impulse down. So it looks like it's going to take another leg down into this area. Yeah, I thought GME was going bankrupt, and maybe they are. I don't follow GME's fundamentals. I just trade in the chart, guys, on GME. I don't care about the fundamentals on it. But I mean, if it breaks that one pivot I showed you at the bottom, that low, then yeah, it could. And then that's why I got to stop out of it, get out of it. It's just not going to work out. And but maybe it won't. You don't know. The other was they realized the shorts. Yeah, well, the shorts and AI is high, short interest, unless my information's bad. Yeah, I mean, look at super micro is a lesson learned in how the grand super cycle and the indices can blow off, and how they usually should blow off top, right? A parabolic blow off top blows off like in an orgasmic climactic fashion, not in a cautious, indecisive, you're biting your nails, you're top ticking the market, your cash is on the sideline. There's no cash. It's all cautions thrown to the winds. So let me find Supermicro's chart real quick. Like, that is how this grand super cycle, guys. If you really want to think about it, that's the way I think we should end, right? From the founding of the country, right? We should end like a super micro, like like not just vertical, like this obviously is like very vertical, right? Right, but you could have said that back here, right? I could have said the same thing. What if we're here? What if the Dow is this? What if that's the Dow right now? We're there. Well, I showed the long-term chart where essentially look like this right now. What if that's the Dow and we still got more of that to go, more of this to go. So you don't know, and so but what signals when we finally get that euphoric, like every person's all in, it's just insane, and you see how you had this blow off top gap. You see this gap here. You gapped up and you ran, and this was some of the biggest one-day gains in this stock, right? So the indices don't have that in its history. All its biggest one-day gains have come off of wave two lows, V bottoms. None of it has ever come off of a top. None of it. So you can make the argument the indices have never seen a wave three grand super cycle yet. We've never seen it because I went and looked, and again, my data could be wrong, but I went and looked and saw the biggest one-day gains in the indexes, in the history of the indexes, and what comes up are bottoms of wave twos. None of them come up in 3 of 3s, but all stocks in 3 of 3s have the biggest gains and the biggest gaps and the biggest euphoria. The indices should do the same, and that supports the moon boy scenario. So that's why, am I a believer? I'm not yet, but could I see the rationale? Yeah, I can see the argument why you would believe that. I could talk myself into it, but we'll have to wait and see if that's where we're going to go. If we're going to do a super micro with the indices. And maybe the indices is trading like here right now or something, and then we get something like this in the next couple years or a year, and then we get a candle that looks like that one day, and then you get like and then that's it, it's game over. So I don't know. I think that's the way I would like to see parabolas blow off like that. But have you seen that in the indices? No, we haven't seen that kind of blow off top. Yeah, we're parabolic, but we haven't seen the mania, index mania, like that, like something to like this effect. Where we're seeing this kind of mania in the indices. Oh, we have a dip, let's buy it. Oh, we have a dip, let's buy it. Oh, there's a dip, let's buy it. We're in that, but we haven't got to this throw caution to the wind, market buy. Every piece of cash I own is in the market. There's no one. When you hear money on the sidelines, there'll be zero money. There'll be not only no bears, all the bears will be fully invested, and then it will be so insane, so nuts. And then you'll get this candle one day, and that will be it. And that's what's going to happen. So that's how I would think a parabola would blow off, and that's how are we setting up for that in the indices? I'm starting to think we are, but I'm not ready to call that as my primary forecast. All right, oil is still got a rug pull coming, but it's in a connector wave. We'll have to wait and see. So you have this connector wave in B, and it's either going to extend. If we break this high at 79 or 80, if we break 80, then B is going to come back up to like 86, 88. But we eventually have this rug pull coming, guys. You got this rug pull coming. That's why nat gas is dangerous. But until then, it's still technically not valid, and we're in this count. Bam. So we'll have to wait and see. We're going to get a big sell-off in oil next week. I don't know. It's tough to say. My bet is it doesn't look good if you're a seller. I'm on the sidelines on the energy market until all this shit plays out, until we're down in this area, until this. I mean, we could even be in a bigger X even. Like, this oil is known to have connector waves. And energy and oil have connector waves that can last years, guys. The XLE had a connector wave that lasted like 8 years. So you could be in this sideways chop for like 5 or 6 years. Like, so this way, to me, it's like I don't even want to trade it. If I get capitulation, I'm a buyer. Boom. If I get extreme greed, I'm a seller. In here, I'm just watching it. I'm just like, there's other things to trade. All right, I got to run, man. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. Talk to you guys later.